Good morning, interwebs and cybertrons. I'm Joshua Ferguson, and today's topic, the news media. The American news media, those hard-working journalists in charge of discussion and debate in this country by informing the electorate with, facts and stuff about what the important events are in this country. Yeah, that's what happens. Definitely. The American news media has long been a part of the diverse debate in America, and through the likes of Cronkite and others, they've long had the trust of the public. In recent years, some people have suggested that the media is not quite hitting the bar for themselves.
America is a racist country because it makes them feel better about themselves. That way they can say, we're for the underdog, we're fighting white oppression.
They got it right 3 times in 10 years. Those are solar eclipse numbers, people.
He's the biggest failure in cable news. But the fact that he's allowed to distort day after day after day is troubling.
The Fox News Channel this week decided to invent their own blood-curdling tale.
The New York Times is a liberal organization.
The bias of the mainstream media is towards sensationalism, conflict, and laziness.
You and I are both kind of Star Wars nerds from the original canon, the original Star Wars, but I think the crying and everything, I think it's a little over the top.
Okay, I am willing to accept a variety of viewpoints on a wide range of subjects as perfectly valid, from supporting the sanctity of marriage to gay rights, from supporting gun rights to gun control, from making the size of government to the equivalent of that of Jupiter, nay, the entire solar system, to making it so small you can misplace it along with your car keys. But to say that you cannot comprehend how grown men can cry at this.
Chewie, we're home.
I need a minute. Okay. I'm good now. Probably. So it seems the long-exalted media is bashing each other over how bad they all are. But why are they so bad? Now, you could say that this bashing is just competitors beating up on each other, as would any rivals such as siblings or fans of Marvel and DC. Side note, never say that Iron Man is better than Batman around a group of nerds, for if there is a DC fan among them. But they aren't alone in their criticism. A recent Gallup poll showed that only 4 in 10 Americans trust mass media, which is an all-time low. That number drops 4 more percentage points for people under 50. So it doesn't look like trust in the media will return anytime soon. So why is the trust gone? Now, you could blame it on scandals such as Brian Williams misremembering a report from the Iraq War. Really? You couldn't get whether or not your helicopter was shot at right? Or part of some long-forgotten Illuminati conspiracy. Hey, you don't know that it isn't. But I'm going to pin it on something you've never heard of. The Telecommunications Act of 1996, a title that was designed to make your brain hurt. The Telecommunications Act of 1996 was a law aimed at deregulating barriers to media competition. New voices would be able to comment on the events of the day. Among the advertised benefits of this bill were increased competition, which would in turn save consumers huge amounts of money on everything from phone bills to cable rates. It was also supposed to provide 1.5 million new jobs and $2 billion to the economy. I have the official declassified mainstream media response from about 2 seconds after the law was passed.
You guys help me out with the harmonies? Sure. Hell no.
Hell no. It then progressed to something more along these lines.
Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh. Maniacal laugh.
You see, while all these benefits were promised, almost none of them came to fruition. The promised 1.5 million jobs were more like 500,000 jobs lost. As for adding $2 billion to the economy, The value of the media companies actually dropped $2 billion. It's like when you tell your parents that you are going to be home by 10 and just didn't mention AM. I mean, it's the same number. What's really the difference, guys? Can we take away the parents now? Almost felt guilty there. And probably the most troubling, the law was supposed to increase competition between media companies and thus lower cable and phone rates for consumers. The law's goal, as described on the website of the FCC, is as follows. The goal of this new law is to let anyone enter any communications business, to let any communications business compete in any market against any other. Can we have that mainstream media response again?
Oh!
Yeah. This law basically cleared the way for large-scale mergers of media companies. According to a CommonCause.org study, all the cable news networks, including CNN, CNN Headline News, Fox, MSNBC, and CNBC, are owned by just 3 media giants: Time Warner, GE, and News Corp. Ted Turner, founder of CNN, has contended that the competitive presence of cable is a mirage. 90% of the top 50 cable TV stations are owned by the same parent companies that own the broadcast networks. The remainder are owned by 2 more companies, Time Warner and Liberty Media. So the media is competitive in the same way that the NBA is competitive. Sure, there are 30 teams, but we know LeBron is always going to win. What's that now? He's won less rings than our high school football team has? Okay, then. As for decreasing cable rates, no. Cable rates have gone up 40% since the law was passed, which is more than 2 times the rate of inflation. Basically, the rates are doing their best up-grandpa impersonation. You thought I was going to the nursing home? Well, here I go! So long, boy! So the news now comes in the form of liberal and sensationalist, conservative and sensationalist, or just extremely sensationalist. I mean, did we really have to devote 24/7 coverage to a plane that was never, ever, ever going to be found? The media reports things that get them watched, not the things that the public needs to know, because there are only a couple of news organizations left. The news reports we do get paint a very limited picture of the world we live in. That picture is too often painted as one of divisiveness, conflict, and fear. It is exasperating an already prevalent problem. A New York Times piece mentions that 27% of Democrats and 36% of Republicans see the other party as a threat to the nation's well-being, which is slightly better than the proportion of cats and dogs that see each other as a threat to your house's well-being. I mean, that one incident with the cushion in the living room, and it all went downhill. The point is that we as a country have become more polarized now than at any time since Kevin Burns got some great material for a PBS documentary. This is largely because people treat news more like the Michigan-Ohio State game rather than what it is, which is real people's lives. The media, and more so the news media, is how the public becomes informed enough to make proper judgments about the government and the world. But instead of being told a variety of viewpoints, we're limited to just a couple, and those ones we have tell the most sensationalist versions of events. This is never going to change for us if there are only these voices left. Like this video if you liked it, and click subscribe to see any more stuff from me and my friends in broadcasting. Special thanks to Ethan Engeseth for being my tech director and creative consultant. I'm Joshua Ferguson for ZHS Video.